To cut out the foam in the case to allow the Phantom to fit inside of it. This case was bought from Newark, and we are now marking where we want all the items that are going to go in it. And right here I have my Fat Shark goggles. They're going to go up in the front here. And then I got my charger, battery, prop balancer, and then of course the remote, and then the Phantom with a Hero camera mounted on the gimbal. So we'll begin by tracing on the first layer of foam with a Sharpie. We won't be cutting out slots in this layer of foam for the blade. Trace the remote. Giving us enough room for the FPV. We got to give ourselves at least 1/4 of an inch leeway for margin of error. So we want to cut on the inside of the trace. You will notice that there are 4 layers of foam. You got the case itself, the top, and this piece here. And this particular piece does have square notches in it. So now that we have our template, we'll begin cutting, and we're going to use a continuous cut, a turkey knife or a meat cutter. Was explained in a previous video. That would be the best to give us a good look. So, time to go get the knife. So we have our meat cutter, and we'll plug in the blades like so. And we're going to cut straight through on a 90-degree angle. Since there's multiple pieces of foam, take a move the Phantom. Pull out the middle layer, and then there's the bottom. Begin cutting. We're going to need to create a starting point with a regular knife. Alright, plug in our knife. Alright. Go all the way through. Okay, we got our first cut. So that's where that's going to go. Now we'll begin our Phantom cut. Remember, we're going to start on the inside of our outline. I'll need to adjust here. for the landing gear. We'll mark the landing gear. That's how it's going to sit in the first layer. Let's cut out the rest of our markings. Second battery. Nice. And our last battery. Another charger. Okay, we'll do a notch for our wires. Fits in there nicely. Now the remote. Okay, there's your remote cut out. We'll do our final notch for the joystick. And there we have it. Okay. So there's our first layer. Now we got to go and figure out our next layer. Pre-cut squares. That's going to go in the middle. Trace our cut. Now realizing we're not going to use all of the depth for the arms, so we'll still keep that as support. So we don't need to go all the way down. So this area we won't cut, but we will need to notch out for the landing gear. So I'm going to just mark the landing gear area by one set of squares. We'll mark out our batteries because the batteries do need to go all the way down. Okay, and the remote we obviously need to go down quite a bit. I want to start with the landing gear section. And we're just going to use a knife. That way we're kind of using the pre-cut squares. Okay, that looks like it's going to be just right for our landing gear. So now the next piece we're going to cut out is for the gimbal. So mark the back side of the gimbal. Actually, we'll just do a nice little outline. There's the gimbal shape. Okay, so now we're going to see how the Phantom fits in there. Camera's gonna go straight back. And it looks like we got a nice fit. Keeps the gimbal steady. Put the first layer of foam in. So now it does look like we need to go all the way to the bottom. I could go down one layer for the charger. That would be fine. So I'll mark that. Do the batteries. See how our batteries fit. We may have to expand our holes for the batteries. Actually, no, that's nice. Nice and tight. Charger. Now let's see how the Phantom goes. Yeah, all we need is the legs to go deeper and room for the gimbal. And that should be good. Now, nice, don't have to go any deeper with that. Only thing left is the remote. Okay, so pull everything back out. Alright, continuing on, we're going to mark our new cut for the remote. See how the remote fits now. So we did decide we don't have to go any deeper for the batteries, right? Right. And the same with the remote or the charger. It gets buried in there like so, no problem. Now we do need to go deeper into this foam. So we'll just mark for the landing gear. Cut like that, and then for the gimbal, I'll make our cuts on the bottom layer. Now this layer, you don't want to necessarily go all the way through. That's the bottom piece. We'll kind of keep that out. Cut it in half and fill it back in. Do the same thing for the other side. Fill that in. Push through. There we have it. So that'll be our bottom. A cut for the remote, but we gotta mark it. So I'll just put it all together again. And then we'll mark our remote. Small piece at the bottom. Push that back in there like so. Alright, there we have it. Bottom piece. Small piece at the bottom. Our middle piece. And then our top piece. So we'll start with the remote. Very tight fit, but it looks like it's going to work. The only thing I would caution is the power switch, turn it on, so you do want to make sure the light is off, make sure the remote's off. Now I did make the antenna straight up and down, so I'm going to close this to see. Actually, that looks pretty nice. Alright, put in our next piece back here. Prop balancer. And then across like that. See how the phantom fits. Blades. Nice and snug. Look at that. Now, I don't like the props just floating up there, but let's see. So the only thing I didn't carve out for is the FPV. I'm thinking about putting the FPV right in front here. So I only have to go through the top 2 layers. So let's mark that. You have to put some notches in the top foam. Alright, so here we're going to cut just inside our line. Then mark this inside. So we gotta get it to go down. Props touching the top of that foam. Okay, so let's see what we have to do. So to get that, we have to have the Phantom go all the way to the bottom with no foam on that plastic. So the first thing that goes in is the goggles. I can put this piece back there. I feel it touching the bottom of the case. So the only thing we can do is cut the styrofoam in the top piece. So I want the blades to go straight across like so. Alright, well it looks like we have almost everything. We might want to, oh, that could actually fit in there. Remote. So we need to get that to go flush. So that's it. That's all the way down and hitting the bottom of the case. That's closed. Pack it up and call it a day. Put some of the foam underneath the props. And there we have it. All but battery, tools, and extra props. So let's see what we can do with those. Alright, looks like we pretty much have it all in there. There you have it. Thank you.